I got to kick this thing off. Can I kick it off? 1, 2, 3, 4. Ladies and gentlemen, listen.
Yo, what's up, everybody? You are now listening to another episode of the Man Listen Show. But before we get started, let's hear a few words from our sponsors.
DD's Daiquiris is your #1 supplier of premium daiquiri mixes. You will love the taste of our classic margarita and signature strawberry mixes. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at DD's Daiquiris. DD is spelled DEEDEE. You can also find us at www.dd'sdaiquiris.com. DD's Daiquiris, giving good vibes to good people, one good drink at a time.
Please buy the new book by Arika Nicole Moore, Diabolical Tales of Woe. Diabolical Tales of Woe is a thrilling collection of short horror stories that leave you in an excited trepidation to see what will happen next. Prepare to face one horrific encounter after the next in this captivating novel. You can find this book on Amazon in the Kindle and paperback version. That is Diabolical Tales of Woe by Arika Nicole Moore. Are you looking for a virtual assistant who can help you with your scheduling, travel, research, and expenses? Demi Virtual Solutions is the answer for you. Demi Virtual Solutions also provides mobile notary services. They will travel to take care of your needs. So if you are in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and need a virtual assistant or are looking for mobile notary services, contact them at 469-522-9005, and you can find them on their website at demivirtualsolutions.com. That's DEMI virtualsolutions.com.
More Grace Counseling and Mediation Services offers individual and relationship counseling as well as mediation services to the community. At More Grace, healthy partnerships are valuable and beneficial. Please visit the website www.moregracecounseling.com for more information about our approach to counseling. More Grace Counseling and Mediation Services, where we offer more grace and more healing.
Are you in the state of Texas and looking for a knowledgeable loan advisor that will walk you through the process from application to closing? Well, then you need to contact Joe Byers at Trinity Oaks Mortgage. Trinity Oaks Mortgage offers FHA, VA, and conventional loans. They also have a first-time homebuyers program available. There is also down payment assistance available as well. Make sure you contact Joe Byers at Trinity Oaks Mortgage. You can reach Joe at 972-512-8990. Conversate with Us Radio presents the Man Listen Show. We are the blackest radio show on the internet. We bring you our opinion on topics that affect the black community in an effort to enlighten, enrich, and empower every brother and sister that falls under the sound of our voice. We operate on a no-hating frequency, so be prepared for us to keep it 100% real and 100% black all the time. Please follow the show on social media, on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Man Listen Show. You can also subscribe to the show on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, basically anywhere you can find your podcast. Make sure on YouTube you give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the show, leave comments, and let everybody know about the blackest radio show on the internet, the Man Listen Show. I'm your host, Marv B. All right, y'all. So a little bit of technical difficulties. You know, Marv B is the slacker today, you know, so I'm broadcasting from parts unknown, but we're gonna go ahead and make it do what it do. So Kwame Brown, I don't know, by now everybody should be aware of Kwame Brown, former NBA player. He played for the LA Lakers, the Washington Wizards, probably a couple other teams before everything was said and done. What's his name? Matt Barnes, Steven Jackson, they have their own podcast. I think it's called All the Smoke. And they were talking to Jeannie Buss from the Los Angeles Lakers, the owner of the Los Angeles Lakers. And they made a comment, you know, they threw some shade at Kwame Brown, and Kwame Brown wasn't feeling it. And he came back with a vengeance. And I don't know if he already had his YouTube channel, or if he created the YouTube channel, in response to them, but he got, multiple followers, thousands of followers for his response. His response was hilarious. He went after Matt Barnes. He went after Steven Jackson. He went after Stephen A. Smith, and he even went after Gilbert Arenas. Most of them responded. Gilbert Arenas, I don't think he really wanted that smoke. So he said, nah, I don't want no parts of Kwame Brown. But Kwame, he really, it was a perfect case to me of when somebody finally decides to stop being bullied and to stand up for themselves. And he stood up for himself in a major way. I'm conflicted on how he did it. So we just want to talk about it. And then we just talk about the NBA in general, because the playoffs are going, and just give our opinions about what's going on with the playoffs and everything else. So what did y'all think when y'all saw Kwame respond to the shade Matt Barnes and Stephen Jackson threw at him?
I was wanting Lab to go first. He probably has the
right.
I
can't go first. Fan. I wasn't prepared to make it on time.
You're the NBA and the Lakers fan.
All I know is that it's funny that he said that dude needs to give Derek Fisher some gas money for picking up his kids from school. And everything I know is hearsay from my husband, but from what I understand, it's well deserved. So like you said, it's like somebody finally got tired of them just poking the bear. Eventually, everybody's gonna snap back. So I mean, I think they deserve it.
But at the same time, they have a podcast. Like, look at how many shots that all four of us take at people. I mean, that's what they do. And I don't know if it's necessarily bullying, because, I mean, I think it's great. Like he said, he made it to the NBA. He took his mom out the hood. That's a great accomplishment for anybody. So it would look crazy for us to try to criticize him in a way, because none of us made it to that level. But those were actually professional athletes. Like, they somewhat kind of mastered the game a little better than him. So he is going to get criticized. He was a number one pick. And I'm not necessarily going to call him a bust, because I don't really like that word, because at least he made it there. He made money. He played in games. But he was a number one pick, and I think was averaging like 6 or 7 points throughout his career at the time where his height, like, he should have been dominating. So they are going to criticize him a little bit. And if he wants to blame it on Jordan and Washington, saying he didn't have the right opportunity, and they had him working hard but never put him in the game. I mean, that's every kid or every player says that. Oh, I didn't play because of this and that. He didn't say he was at the gym shooting like Kobe an hour before the team got there, then an hour after they left. He just claimed they were practicing him hard, not giving him no playing time. So I don't think I don't know. This is my opinion. Like, he should have just ignored it or just explained it and then just kept it going, because I mean, he didn't pan out to what they thought he was going to. What do you think, Laugh? That's your team. Well, not really the Washington, but I know he went to the Lakers after that, and I think that's why he was taking shots at Matt Barnes so hard.
Right, and it's Matt Barnes has crafted a little niche for himself with the podcast and things like that. But when he was in the league, a lot of people didn't really like Matt Barnes. He was I'm not gonna say he's annoying, but he's just one of those fake tough guys, or always acting like he was a tough guy. And a lot of people saw right through that, or challenged him on that. And it's one of those situations. I think we may have talked about it before, where he's extremely light and fair skinned, and people always try to, he might feel a certain way, like he has to overcompensate for stuff. That's just I don't know that's just my opinion. But like you said, for those players who were in the league to call him a bust, they're the only ones who can do it. I can't sit there and call him a bust. Stephen A. Smith can't call him a bust. The guys that were in the league with him, they saw his work ethic. They saw him every day in practice. So there's two sides of every story. Kwame's thinking he's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and they like, nah, that's not you at all, buddy. That's not who you were. Don't claim to be this cat, So they did see what we weren't able to see. But if anybody's gonna criticize him, I don't have a problem with the players criticizing him.
My problem is this, though. Yeah, you can critique somebody, but then don't get mad about how they respond, though. I'm a big dude. You know, people make fat jokes all the time. Sometimes I blow it off. Sometimes I might get in your ass. Depends on how well I like you or not. It depends on how long, you know, you've done it. You know, I may be able to blow it off for a while, but pretty soon, you know what I'm saying? I'm, you know, being the bigger person, both literally and figuratively, I'm not going to do that. And I'm gonna let you have it. And it really just sounded like to me that Kwame was tired of it. He was tired of people calling him a bust. Because like I said, for him, he put it in perspective, you know, I'm winning. I took my mama out the projects,
Right,
out the
right.
hood, you know, I made this money. And you know, why are y'all putting me, another black man, down? Now he went low with it. He went super low with it. And I thought it was hilarious because you saw with their responses, like you said, Matt Barnes, he is a fake tough guy. He really is a fake tough guy. You know, I don't feel the need to talk about the whole Derek Fisher thing and all of that stuff, but you know, there is something to be said about, and I don't know if Matt Barnes is biracial or not, but there's a theory that people who are extra light skinned or biracial, they try to compensate for that by being extra black. And by being extra black, it's not always about I'm down for the cause. It's always going to be like, I'm going to be as ghetto and as hood as I possibly can. Just let y'all know I'm the furthest thing from white. And I'm not saying that's Matt Barnes, but it does kind of look that way to me. And we talked about how Kwame Brown low-key kind of called that out as well. He also called out Steven Jackson for buying ass. And Steven Jackson low-key admitted to it. He was like, yeah, I stayed in the strip clubs. Their responses to it was like, well, we talking about basketball, why you getting personal? It was all right to me because my thing is like, y'all act like y'all tough guys. Now, Steven Jackson, he may be about it. He was part of the Malice in the Palace with Ron Artest. He ran up into the stands and all that stuff. But, you know, I'm not really mad at Kwame for responding. It's gotten old. His whole shtick has gotten old, and some of his stuff, you know, about the comments he made about Breonna Taylor, I wasn't feeling that in the past. Him kind of low key endorsing Jesse Lee Peterson, who's a massive coon.
Yeah, he's a MAGA dude.
Yeah, MAGA dude. So you know, it was funny, but I just don't feel like Kwame Brown is the person that we need to elevate onto any sort of platform just because he was funny and calling Matt Barnes Becky with the good hair, which I man,
that was funny.
What he said, which one of your granddaddies hated you the most, the black one or the white one? I fell out laughing. But you know, the extreme amount of curse words, even though I curse all the time, and the profuse usage of, you know, the N-word, it was too much. That part was too much for me, and it got old really quick. So I'm cool on Kwame Brown right now, but I think his first couple of responses, especially to, you know, the guys who went after him, even Stephen A. Smith, because Rick, I'll let you jump in after this. You know, he's like, why are y'all tearing down a black man? Like, you get on the platform, you know, that white folks give you, and it basically, you know, they approve of what you say or what you can't say, and y'all are tearing down me. So when he called Stephen A. Smith a bald head scallywag, you know, that was another good one. But I feel him, but I'm sick of him as well.
So, I mean, I agree with what you said. I think it started out as funny to hear some of the stuff, but then it's like how much of your time and energy are you going to use to focus on them just trying to get ratings or whatever it is they're doing on their show? I mean, I'm a firm believer in when they go low, we go lower, but at some point you're just wasting your own time. One thing that I did think about that I really feel like nobody else was talking about was his discussion of how Jordan treated him. And I was like, we've heard a lot of stuff about Jordan that's negative, and I wonder how many people who hold him up to be like this great person have kind of, you know what I mean, changed their perspective on him since some of this information about how he treats people has come out. And I mean, you could say that the person and the basketball legend and his, you know, contributions to the sport can be looked at differently, but I don't know. I just was kind of giving Jordan the side eye to hear he was treating an 18-year-old boy like that, because like you said, we're supposed to be mentors and protecting these young men. And if you got your idol talking down to you and, you know, kind of making you feel intimidated and scared, how successful did they really think he was going to be? So
I think
Well, Oh, go ahead, laugh.
No, I think on that aspect though, that's the generational difference, because Jordan wasn't the only cat that did that. When Kobe got to the Lakers, they did hit that to him. You know, they treated him bad. His rookie year, he didn't start. He didn't get a lot of tick. And then you see the same thing happen with him. The later part of his career, he was treating Julius Randle and what's the dude's name? D'Angelo Russell. He was dogging them cats, man. You know, and I think it's just a fact of generational differences. I honestly, man, I hate to even say this because it's the Lakers, but LeBron actually kind of where he goes, he does that to the young players. You ever notice there's never young players that's getting ticked where LeBron's at, because I don't know, maybe they have more confidence in veterans to do a certain role and they're more consistent, things like that. So, you know, when LeBron went to Cleveland, he got rid of all the young cats, basically, except for Kyrie. And then he still ended up having problems with Kyrie. And Kyrie was like, all right, get up out of here. You know, they had a lot of talent. They drafted Andrew Wiggins. He was like, nah, I'm not playing with that dude. They come to LA, played 1 year, got rid of all them young cats, you know. So I just think that's kind of a fact how the NBA, certain players that have, I'm not gonna say control of the franchise, but or have a lot of input, know what they want, what they can and can't win with, and typically young guys aren't that.
It's
And I
definitely
think
a
it's just
generational
part of
thing.
the game. Like, I mean, you're always going to have the older player, that older, like, like mentor, and they're going to, coach you hard. Like, they know what it is at 18 and 19. Those kids, of course they want to be basketball players, but at the same time, they're still thinking about strip clubs, cars, and everything else. So they haven't really invested as much into the game or the championship as the older and veteran player does. So it doesn't make me look at Jordan any different way. As a coach, I know that you connect with people different ways. But like, you brought up Kobe Lab. So you said they treated him the same way, to where, he didn't shut down. He didn't only score 6 points a game. Like, he was in the gym working hard. So then next year he was playing. He was averaging, 20 plus points. And then as he got older, he knew what it took. And so he was pushing those younger kids to do that. Like, I don't want to quote it wrong, but I know there's a quote my husband just showed me the other day, which he said was one of his favorite quotes by Kobe, where he says, like, he can't relate to lazy people. I'm sure that's not something he said at 18. It wasn't until later on in life. So by him saying, "Oh, Jordan was mean to me," I mean, come on, dude. You grew up as an athlete. All coaches are mean at some point in time, and if they're not mean, it's probably like some, low league YMCA team where they don't even keep score or something like that. Like, coaches are mean. So
Yeah.
Well,
Lamar,
I think also, even Kobe had problems though. I mean, because
yeah,
there was a lot of, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, because y'all the Kobe fans, but like he didn't really get along with everybody in the locker room. Like when
no,
Shaq was in control of the team,
yeah,
I think it was like one cat. Brian Scott was the one who like really was like the guy who showed him love and was like, "Hey man, it's gonna be okay." And it was like the older cat that kind of could be that sounding board for him. But it's like we talked about in the last show about the violence and everything. Like the generation, and I don't know, quote probably might be about our age though, right? Or not too.
no, because he came out of high school in probably 2000, I think after LeBron, maybe a year after LeBron, 2004.
Let's be accurate with it. Let's see when Kwame came out.
yeah, he's a few years younger than us. He's 39.
Okay, so he's older than LeBron. Okay.
So
And he's
Kwame
still
came out.
11.
So Kwame came out in 2001.
Okay.
Kwame came out in 2001, a couple years before LeBron, and me thinking about the young men that I know that were from that generation, that's when you really started to see the sensitivity in young black men. When you really started seeing like, oh, you can't say nothing to me, or, what I'm saying, or you hating on me, or this, that, and the other. Nah, young fella, I'm trying to get you to be right. And sometimes it's not soft. Sometimes with men, you have to be harsh, to get them to hear it. Sometimes you got to do it with my daughter. Sometimes I had to be harsh with them to get them to hear it. And so we only get Kwame's side of the story. We don't get Jordan's side, but I'm not just quick to vilify Jordan for
Right.
What could have been done, because I don't think it was just like something to single out Kwame Brown. Now, we start talking about like the trash talk and his skills. Now, Kwame wasn't good, you know. He just really wasn't like a, you know, a top-notch basketball player, but he was serviceable. He played like 12 years, 12 years.
He got the check for a while.
Yeah, he got his check. You know, he made his money, you know, and as a black man, hey, I'm proud of him for that. But, you know, I hope that he takes this sudden visibility, because I'll be honest with you, I forgot all about Kwame Brown until this whole thing, you know, came out. So I hope he takes this resurgence of his fame, this 15 seconds that he has, to build a platform to where he could do something positive with it, instead of just, you know, calling, you know, other black men, you know, bitch ass N-words, and, you know, repeating himself, you know, over and over again. You know, we passed that, brother. Let's do something positive.
He's got to work on his delivery though, because he does say things that are positive. So I don't know if it's a different YouTube channel, but he did have one before the whole Matt Barnes thing, and he jumps on there and he says a lot of stuff. He talks about how basically, like, you know, there's an attack on the black men and, you know, young black males, you know, in different forms. He talks about how, you know, what Hollywood does, what, you know, what the music industry does, the rappers, but his delivery is just so, I feel like the only people that he's reaching with those videos are a really small population. So yeah, he definitely has to switch it up.
But there's nothing wrong with that though. I mean, you don't have to reach everybody, you know. If we all given, you know, a message and it resonates with some people, you know, even with the Man Listen show, we got like 170 some followers. We need to get that up. But as long as we are impacting those people, we've done our job. We did our job, you know what I mean? So
yeah, but I think it's different though, because I feel like, I mean, there's a lot of people that don't get along with us, you know. They may make a comment or two, that's fine, we like that, but I don't think that we are like I think he's doing good, but at the same time he's doing harm. Like I don't want young black men to feel like it's okay just to, you know, go off like that. Like he can form those same, you know, opinions and sentences, like, you know, without the cuss words, like, you know.
Right.
And I don't know, I could think he needs to change his delivery. And you're right, I cuss. I still listen to gangster rap every day when I go to the gym. But I don't do that at work though. Like, you know what I mean? He's not, if he was reaching, I guess, our age and the same age that he is, then I'd be fine with it. But I think there's a lot of young kids that are really laughing at him right now, and they're going to be tuning into his videos.
Now, Kwame's from the Low Country, which is,
yes, sir.
No, is rural South Carolina. I think he even might be Gullah Geechee himself. You know what I mean? So there's a different way of communicating down there. And we also talking about a young man who only a high school education. You know, he's not really a young man anymore, but we're talking about somebody who's, you know, high school education. So, and I don't know what he did after that, but he said some good stuff, man. But I think the NBA is a fraternity, and I think, you know, Barnes and Steven Jackson kind of, and Gilbert Arenas, they violated that, and he checked them on it, you know. But because the players got to protect themselves. And speaking of protection, what's up with, you know, these fans, you know, attacking and harassing, you know, throwing popcorn on cats, throwing bottles at you know, at players? What's up with that? You know, what is the NBA doing to protect the players? Because it's a mess right now.
Not enough.
Yeah, not enough.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, the incidents seem to be growing instead of becoming more sparse. And I think that the reason for that is, once you see somebody get away with doing something crazy, then people get it in their mind that, ooh, let me up the ante. Let me see if they did this. Let me see what I could do. And I think that people came out of quarantine just crazy. Like, I don't know. Like, they forget that these are real people playing basketball. It's just not fake.
Yeah. I think the last three, or, you know, all the ones here in the finals though, Lab, they were all arrested though, right?
I'm not sure. I'm gonna say it though. They stormed the Capitol, so why can't I throw a bottle of water at Kyrie?
Basically.
Yeah, you're probably right. That's probably what set it off.
But you know what though? They're gonna throw it at the wrong Negro.
I was just about to say.
Hey, they're gonna run up in them stands again.
Listen, they did it to Ron, and that boy went off. You know what I mean? And he wasn't wrong. You know,
no, he wasn't wrong at all.
He wasn't wrong. you know, you can't do that. You know, I mean, let me put it like this. I don't think he should have ran into the stands, but I understand.
I
And
understand.
when they threw that popcorn at Westbrook, that was the wrong Negro to do that with, because
It was.
you know,
It
he
really
was lucky
was.
there was about 4 or 5 people that could hold him back, and they were struggling. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Westbrook ain't for that. You know,
Yeah.
he's a man's man. So I just think that you know, for white America, they still look at us as just performance. They just look at us as somebody to entertain them. They don't look at us as humans. We're there, you know, your boy Bill Rhoden with his book $40 Million Slaves. People got so caught up on the title that they didn't read the book and absorb the knowledge, and you know, really look at how the treatment of Black American athletes has been horrible. You know, we just saw the news about the NFL, how the NFL was doing the cognitive testing and they were rating Black players lower so that they wouldn't be able to get as much payback when it comes to the CTE investigations.
I was
CTE
just about to say, yeah, that
You know what
means
I'm
that
saying?
they already view them as less than already.
We talked about Jordan. You know, Bill Rhoden talked about the story when Jordan went to the Wizards. When he went to the Wizards where Kwame was playing, you know, Jordan came back to play, to build back buzz for the team, to get people to come into the games, because he wanted equity. He wanted ownership. And he thought the white man who was the owner was going to give it to him. And they didn't give it to him. And then John Thompson, the famous coach from the Georgetown Hoyas, when they got done with Mike, when Mike got those ticket sales going up and they let him go, George, what's his name? John Thompson said they put Mike back on the plantation. They put Mike back on the plantation, because back in the day, slaves who were profitable, who could, you know, who were carpenters, who could do stuff, they could go out and make money. They get master, they cut, they can, you know, they were sort of living high on the hog, but they still had to get back on the plantation. And people take offense to it, but it's true. It's very much true. And I think they need to do something to protect these players, man. And hopefully the players do something to take a stance to demand better treatment.
Yeah. And that's the only way if something's going to happen, if the players basically say, I'm not playing for this particular. It's hard to say, you know, Utah has had a history. This is one of those teams that they've had a history for a long time of being those type of fans, or quote unquote.
It's Utah.
But,
it's Utah.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Utah.
So, you know, they got a new young owner. They bought Dwayne Wade. He's in the ownership group. He's, you know, Utah now.
But is he making any decisions though?
No. Well, the young cat that owns them with, you know, he seems to be a different from the previous owners. I think he's a mid-30s or something tech dude. He wanted Dwayne Wade because he wants more diversity, you know, stuff like that, whatever.
But hold your train of thought. But let's put it into perspective. A lot of times when you see cats buying into ownership, unless it's like a Magic, and I'm kind of questioning Magic with the Dodgers, unless it's like Mike with the Bobcats, most of that is just really a high paid marketing.
Yeah.
You know,
that's what I was getting at.
I'm an owner, like Usher is an owner of the Cleveland Cavaliers, but you own like 0.5%. You know what I'm saying? Jay-Z, you know, own the Nets, but we found out Jay-Z really didn't own, you know, that much of the Nets. You know what I mean? So that's just keeping perspective.
Right. So, but what I was saying was, it's going to take for the players to be like, I'm not going to play for Utah, or I'm not going to play. But it's hard to say that when, like, we talk about Kwame, that was his ultimate goal, was to get to the NBA. There's only 30 teams, 15 roster spots. That's what, 450 players. So it's hard and there's 500 people going out for that slot, you know, or 1,000 people going out for that slot. So it's hard to tell somebody, don't live out your dream and go play for Utah. But that's really the only way it's going to happen, is if some players just like, I'm not going to play for Utah, or I don't want to play in Utah, you know, or not to pick on Utah, but
I mean, Utah deserves it though, you know. I think ultimately, and then see Ricky, I'll jump in. Ultimately, it's just going to have to go down to us finding a way to get our own league. because
Yeah.
you know, if you think about it, music, they don't need the music, they don't need the record industries. You know, we don't really need, you know, these owners. You know, the black players are the talent, but as long as they're dependent on the white owners to, or the non-black owners to cut a check, we're always going to be vulnerable, because you'll always have the LeBrons, the Steph Currys, the KDs, those guys who can say, I can sit out a year. I may be able to sit out 2 years because I got all this money stacked. But you got the guys like Kwame Browns and the role players. It's like, man, I got a finite window to get this money. And because I'm a role player, they can roll somebody else up in here who's 7 foot and can rebound, and I'm short. And we've seen it with the NFL, why they didn't band together to help to stand together for Kaepernick. And I think you're going to see the same thing for the NBA as well.
Yep.
We
I
should
agree.
try to get the team moved. Like, we just like, listen, we all hate Utah. Let somebody move the team somewhere else. I wonder how hard that is.
I mean, you got
The owners got to vote that.
The other owners got to do it, and basically,
Yeah.
the other owners is white boys except for Michael Jordan. So you know they're not going, because where are they going? They gonna move to Seattle, back,
Yeah.
Sprint Center.
Vegas.
back to Kansas City.
Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah, back to Kansas City, Omaha. You know what I mean?
Kings.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Yeah, it needs to happen. So who y'all got in the playoffs?
So I think the Nets are tough. They are stacked and going to be hard to beat. And then, you know, I don't know. I really thought until Anthony Davis went down, I was really wanting to see the Lakers and the Nets. But yeah, I don't know now.
I gotta go with my husband. Go with the Bucks.
Oh,
Yeah, I like the Bucks too at the East, to be honest with you. I think they just got. I think just this is their year. I just don't think the Nets is all together yet. But after this year, it's gonna be 4 straight for the Nets, probably.
You know, I'm Team LeBron, but it don't look good. I think
I need LeBron to step up, man.
I think LeBron's still low key hurt.
Yeah.
High ankle sprain, and I think, you know, there's 2 things that's undefeated, and that's the P and Father Time.
Yeah.
And I think we're starting to see Father Time low key catch up to LeBron.
LeBron said that too.
Like, part of his greatness has been his durability. You know what I'm saying? It's been his durability, and I think you're starting to see, you know, a crack in that invulnerability that we've seen throughout the years. So, you know, I hate it because all the LeBron haters are going to have more ammunition to dog him and to put him down. But, you know, it is what it is. So I'm really still rooting for the King. After that, I'm just a spectator. I just want to see good basketball.
Yep, I'm the same way.
It's hard, especially too, when you're that size, to maintain your health, because I know someone who's like, what, 6'7", and he just be like, I don't know, his back and the stuff that he's got going on, and he's not near doing the stuff that LeBron is doing, putting that much pressure and that much, you know, strain on his body day after day. So I think it's crazy that he's been so dominant this long anyway. I'm tired and I don't near do that.
Right, and his whole life, you know, just think about AAU basketball growing up as a kid and then being in the league for 20 years, playing the majority of the game. So, like I said, I like LeBron. I just don't think he's a GOAT, but I like LeBron.
That wasn't even part of the conversation.
I was just saying.
You felt the need to throw that out.
Like, for the record.
I just threw that out there. I'm a fan of
Kobe
the man.
fans. You Kobe fans always got to do that.
No. So I'm a fan of the man, just not the player.
Yes, a fan of the man. I don't dislike him as a player anymore.
I don't either.
But that chalk thing used to make me want to just shoot myself.
I'm a fan of LeBron the player. Yeah. I'm a fan of LeBron the man.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of what he does in the community. And I'm the biggest fan because he married a Black woman, and he has Black children, and he puts them on the forefront all the time.
Right.
I think that example that he sets, to me, will always keep him at the top, for real. And he puts his money in the right places, you know, even though, you know, he makes mistakes. I mean, I think the whole thing with Micaiah Bryant, people were giving him a hard time because he was going after the cop. At least he took a stance. We did a show about that, and we saw everybody was, you know, being, you know, punks and cowardly, thinking what happened to that young girl was right. things like that made me, you know, I'll be a LeBron fan to the end. So
Right.
that
Yeah.
is what it is. So
Yeah.
but anyway, I think we talked about it enough.
Wait a minute. Before we end it, we got to circle back to one more thing.
What happened?
Both you and Laugh made a comment that Matt Barnes tries to overcompensate because he's light skinned. Every time somebody makes that comment about somebody overcompensating, it makes me want to cuss them out. I was about to cuss on here. Laugh, where'd you go? Laugh, you get back in here.
It was like, nah, I'm good.
Every time I hear that comment, I swear.
Why?
Like,
It's true.
because that, like, I
It's
don't
true.
know. I feel like that dismisses dang near the whole Black Panther movement. Do I think there's some people like that? Of course. Do I think the majority of the people are like that? No. So, like, why do we keep saying that? Like, look at Angela Davis, Kathleen Cleaver, Huey Newton. So, I mean, it's like, wow. I mean, I just hate when I hear that. It drives me crazy.
So a lot of people think that I'm light skinned, even though I'm not.
What? You said that on camera. People can see you.
I'm not. So I think, see, where that plays in, where that plays in is not for people who are militant, quote unquote, or who are down for the cause. I think it's more so for the people who go to the other extreme and who are more ghetto per se, and more go towards the negative stereotypes that you see for Black people. And
Inauthentically ghetto.
But yeah, so I get that in those situations.
Honestly, you see it more so with Black women. Honestly, you see it.
Okay.
You see it more so with Black women, and especially, like, you know, because you remember back in the day, it was the whole light is right, and, you know, the light, you know, dark skin is not good, and, you know, light skin was in, and all that type of stuff. And for light skinned women, in order to try to prove their Blackness, they try to act more hood. They did the neck roll more. They try to fight more. They would try to do all that stuff to try to prove that they were Black and that they weren't trying to be white. So that's where that comes from, and that's why we say that about Matt Barnes. Becky with the good.
But that's what I'm saying. With that being said, that has nothing to do with Matt Barnes, because I don't feel like he tries to prove that. But I keep hearing y'all are not the first two to say that about Matt Barnes. Like, everybody's like, you know, he's a fake tough guy. I mean, I've never seen him really back down in a game to anybody. And I'm not saying that meaning you're tough means you have to fight somebody. But I mean, if you drive 2 hours to punch somebody, you can't really be like, oh, he's just a fake, you know.
Or you're whipped, one or the other.
But it's not about, you know, the willingness to fight, and, you know, not being scared to fight. It's about feeling the need to have to fight and to have that persona all the time. You know what I'm saying? Because,
but does he do that though? Do y'all feel he's that way, or do you just?
I felt he was. I felt he was.
Especially when he was in the league.
Yeah,
he definitely was. But
yeah,
to me though, you know, we talk about it's so much beyond that, because we talk about Kwame got tired of being bullied. Part of that aspect of the light skin, to me, is because a lot of people kind of bully them about that when they're younger, and they finally say, I gotta do something to not be bullied anymore. So they say, I'm gonna take it to.
He froze.
Good.
He froze.
I mean, like people like every time I hear that,
I'd screenshot that too. Go ahead.
Every time I hear that, I swear I get so mad.
No, I said when we was on the bus going to school, we used to call cats light skin. You know, we used to down cats that was very high yellow. You know, we used to have make up nicknames for them, and I can only imagine that people talking about them.
I mean, people still say it. Like, right. If somebody's acting shady, you know what I'm saying? You're like, there you go, acting light skinned again.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And in the basketball world, in sports world, you know, we always talk about how he old Pac-10 dude, you know, and
I came up with that phrase. I came up with that. You know, Pac-10, because you remember they had all the Toby Baileys.
Yeah, UCLA and Arizona had all them light-skinned dudes. Yeah.
And let me say, it's wrong, because I wasn't raised.
Yeah, it is.
I was raised by a mother who said, Black is Black.
Yeah, exactly.
You make any type of colorism joke at all, we were gonna get our behind beat. But it was more so about talking about our darker brothers and sisters. You know what I'm saying? Because you always hear this thing, by light-skinned people say, "Oh, well, me too. It wasn't easy for me too, and me either, and this, that, and the other."
Yeah.
And I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. But I would never, ever, ever equate that to the hell that our darker brothers and sisters go through.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. I totally agree.
I raised 2 chocolate babies, and I saw the treatment that I saw the type of treatment that people attempted to direct towards them, and because I was cognizant of it, I wasn't allowed to go down. So that I'm not playing the violin for our light-skinned brothers and sisters. I just want us all to be on one accord. But I do think Matt Barnes is a fake tough guy. He's a fake tough guy.
Back at the ranch.
He might be, and that's fine. So if y'all say he's a fake tough guy, I'm fine with that. I just don't like when people be like, "Oh, they're light skinned and sort of overcompensate." I mean, that's the disrespect to the Black Panther Party to even say that, though. Like, I just
why? But why are you taking it to the Black Panther Party?
Because a lot of their leaders were, light skinned.
Because of Huey and
Kathleen Cleaver.
Yeah.
Angela Davis. There's a lot of them, though. So would y'all say that about them, though? That's what I'm saying.
Well, we're not calling them fake tough guys and fake tough women.
No, that's what I said. I'm okay with the fake tough guy, but both you and Laugh made a comment that he overcompensates because he's light.
Yes, it's true.
Yeah. Especially in a Black space such as the NBA and basketball locker rooms, I think he felt the need to show you that I'm Black too. I mean, that's just my thoughts. I could be totally wrong. That's just me talking. I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't even use the terms light skin and dark skin anymore. I stopped using those terms when I stopped using the N-word many years ago.
And in some regards, I respect it to a degree, because I always say I don't like fence setters. And you see a lot of and people hate when I say this, but it's my opinion. You see a lot of people who are biracial and they ride the fence. If it's advantageous for me to be white, I'm gonna take advantage of that. If it's advantageous for me to be Black, I'm gonna take advantage of that. If I could just play in the middle, I'm gonna do that. I don't get that. I'm Black, you know what I'm saying? And I want people who you identify how you identify. If you want to say I'm biracial, I'm mixed, I'm not Black, that's fine. But then don't try to take the benefits that come to us for being Black 100% of the time. No, you just go be whatever you want to be. You know what I'm saying? But don't try to come and take what we get and be Black when it's convenient to you. I don't care for that at all. People may not like that, but I don't think it's right. Just like I don't think it's right for people who are not ADOS to be like, "Oh, I'm Black too," take our benefits, but then hold themselves apart. "Oh, I'm not like y'all. I'll come from Africa, kings and queens," like Rika said.
Look, Rika's like, "No, don't even say that no more."
Some of y'all are just regular people.
Yeah. Everybody can't run the kingdom.
So,
or when, which is kind of off the subject, but when people who aren't ADOS try to, I guess, block any other benefits that we feel are owed to us or that we need. Like, when it comes to anything that has to do with us, they're like, "No, it's fine. We don't need it." We're like, who's talking to you? Like, this has nothing to do with you.
Nothing to do with you. Nothing to do with you. So in a sense, I respect Matt Barnes because he's down. Because I know there are some biracial people that they're not, and they just, "Hey, I'm not Black." If you call them Black, they'll get offended. I'm not Black. What are you? I'm biracial. Okay, well, you go over there with the Tiger Woods and whoever and do what y'all do. Do what y'all do.
Tiger Black now.
Nope.
Hey,
No take backs.
No take backs. I was about to say the same thing, Erika. Nope, he's not.
When he had that first accident, and when he was hiding them pills, that police report, the white folks let him know what they thought he was. They put down Black. It wasn't common.
Right. Exactly.
Black.
You know what his driver's license said?
Yeah, it's Black. So, but anyway, we didn't give Becky with the good hair too much shine. See, it's all right with you now. Or you still mad about it?
No, I don't. Y'all can call him the fake tough guy. I'm just saying, I just don't like the other thing y'all saying.
Okay, all right. I'm probably still gonna say it, but I still love you. So anyway, we talked about it enough.
I respect your opinion.
I do. I respect it. Anyway, it's good to have you back on the show. But
Appreciate it.
we talked about it enough. Make sure y'all subscribe to the show on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube. Make sure you share the show. Follow us on social media, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Man Listen Show. Help us get some more followers. Tell people to follow the blackest radio show on the internet, the Man Listen Show. We'll holler you next time. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.